another candle, another year, and that same strange feeling creeps in. Not quite sadness, not quite fear, just a quiet pressure. A voice asking, what have you actually done with this year? Where are you supposed to be by now? And why does turning 1 year older feel less like a celebration and more like a countdown? Here's something that might surprise you. For most of human history, people had no idea how old they were. No birthdays, no candles, no countdown. And yet, somehow, they didn't carry the anxiety about aging that almost every modern person feels every single year. So what changed? And more importantly, what did we lose? Let's start with the basics. Ancient humans did not track birthdays the way we do. Most hunter-gatherer societies measured time in seasons, harvests, and life stages, not in numbers. A person wasn't 27. They were a hunter, a mother, an elder. Their identity was tied to their role in the tribe, not to a number ticking upward on a calendar. This matters more than it sounds like it should, because here's what modern birthdays actually do to your brain. The moment a birthday approaches, your mind automatically starts running a comparison. Where am I now versus where I thought I'd be? This is called a temporal landmark. Psychologists have found that birthdays, New Year's, and other calendar milestones trigger intense self-evaluation. Your brain treats these dates like checkpoints in a video game, except there's no clear goal, no scoreboard, and no way to actually win. Ancient humans never had this checkpoint system running in the background. Their sense of progress wasn't measured against a number. It was measured against the seasons, against survival, against the tribe's needs that day. There was no internal voice asking, am I behind schedule? Because there was no schedule. We invented the schedule, and then we made it personal. Here's where it gets even more interesting. Studies on what researchers call the New Year effect show that people are significantly more likely to search for therapists, search for divorce information, and even experience spikes in suicidal ideation around birthdays and other milestone dates, not because anything actually changed in their life overnight, but because the date itself forces a confrontation with the gap between expectation and reality. Ancient humans simply didn't have that gap, not because their lives were better in many ways, they were brutally harder, but because they weren't measuring their life against an imagined timeline of where they should be. Now let's talk about something even deeper. Birthdays today are often tied to a very specific modern fear, the fear of being left behind. You see people your age who seem to have more money, more relationships, more followers, more success, and your birthday becomes a yearly reminder of exactly how far ahead or behind you are compared to everyone else. Ancient humans compared themselves to about 50 people, their entire tribe. That's it. If you were a decent hunter, a reliable gatherer, someone who showed up for your people, you were valued, full stop. There was no algorithm showing you thousands of people your exact age who appeared to be doing better. Your brain was built for a world of 50 comparisons. You're now running it against 8 billion, and birthdays are the day your brain runs that comparison the hardest. There's also something psychologists call the reminiscence bump. Most people, when asked to recall meaningful memories, pull disproportionately from their late teens and 20s. This is the period when identity is being formed. First loves, first independence, first real failures and successes. After that period, many people report that life starts to feel like it's speeding up, with years blending together. Here's the unsettling part. The reminiscence bump isn't really about age. It's about novelty. Your brain creates strong, distinct memories when things are new. Once life becomes repetitive, same job, same routine, same four walls, your brain stops bothering to encode detailed memories. The years don't actually pass faster. You're just experiencing fewer new things to remember. Ancient humans, by necessity, lived in a state of constant novelty. Every day brought a different hunt, a different threat, a different decision that mattered. Their brains were constantly engaged because their survival depended on it. Birthdays meant nothing to them because every day already felt significant. We've built lives so comfortable and so routine that an entire year can pass in what feels like a blur, and then a birthday arrives and forces us to notice. So what do you actually do with all of this? First, stop measuring your life against a number. The right age to achieve something is a completely modern invention with no biological or evolutionary basis. Ancient humans measured their worth by their contribution to the people around them, not by a countdown clock. Ask yourself what you contributed this year to your relationships, your work, your own growth, instead of asking how old you are. Second, shrink your comparison group. You were built to compare yourself to 50 people, not 8 billion. Be deliberate about who you're measuring yourself against. If your social feed is making your birthday feel worse instead of better, that's information worth acting on. Third, manufacture novelty. If years are blurring together, it's because your days have stopped being different from each other. You don't need a major life change, new routes to work, new conversations, new small experiences. Novelty is what makes your brain start paying attention again, and what makes time feel like it's actually being lived, not just passed. Birthdays were never meant to be a verdict on your life. That's a story we told ourselves somewhere along the way, without realizing it. Ancient humans didn't fear getting older because they weren't keeping score. Maybe the healthiest thing you can do this year is stop keeping score too. If this made you think differently about your next birthday, drop a comment below. I read every single one, and if this resonated with you, you already know what to do.